boxing is really on the upbeat, and we're going to be doing so many fights on ESPN and so many WBO title fights.
In order for this solid gold card to happen, two teams had to come together to bring their fighters into this historic event. I'd now like to introduce Dino Duva, who is head of Rock Nation Boxing, promoter of Guillermo Rigondeaux. Dino, thank you not only for bringing Guillermo, but for being here with us today for this historic fight. Anything you'd like to say about the event Saturday night?
Yeah, just briefly, I'm just honored and really tickled to death to be associated with this great event and this great main event. I want to thank Bob, Top Rank, ESPN for this great opportunity, Vasyl Lomachenko and Agus for giving Rigo this opportunity to fight for his belt. It's just, what more can be said about this fight? It's one of the greatest matchups on paper that I've ever seen in my life. And I really believe that the fight itself will live up to its expectations. And I also believe that the winner of this fight will be hands down recognized as the best fighter in the world. It's just everything that's gone on with this promotion, this fight. When Bob and I first started talking about it, you know, we obviously talk business, but the thing we couldn't stop talking about was what a historic matchup it is. And it really is what it's all about. It's great for the fans, great for the boxing industry, great for everyone involved, and I'm just proud to be associated with it, and I look forward to a great fight Saturday night. Thank you.
A few things about Bob before I get to him. Today is the 47th anniversary of the very first promotion that Bob Arum ever had here at Madison Square Garden, and the event on Saturday night will mark his 30th event here at the Mecca Boxing MSG. So that in of itself is pretty remarkable, Bob. So at 85 years old for one more day, tomorrow is Bob Arum's birthday. He'll be 86 years old. He hasn't skipped a beat. But you, Bob, have promoted many historic events. Obviously your first one here being with Muhammad Ali. Where does Saturday night's bout with Lomachenko and Rigondeaux kind of rank for you in terms of historic bouts in your career that you've been a part of?
Well, it's obviously a historic fight. Two great fighters, with two unbelievable pedigrees facing each other. This is a real milestone in boxing. It's recognized by almost everybody associated with boxing as being something very special. And I'm so delighted that it's in Madison Square Garden. You have to understand, you can tell by my voice, I live in Las Vegas. I haven't lived in New York since the 80s, but I'm a New Yorker. As a young man, I went, sat in the rafters at a minor league hockey team. You paid 10 cents to watch them play, called the Rovers. And I went to college basketball games in the old garden. And then in the 70s, when they opened this building, New Garden we called it then, I was obviously enamored with it. And then in December of 1970, when I did my first fight here, Ali and Bonavina, it was something special. And whenever I come back to the garden, it's really something special. I mean, the Madison Square Garden is part of my DNA, it's part of Top Rank's DNA, and it will always have that feeling for me and for my company. So the fact that together with Rock Nation, we could put on this magnificent, tremendous event here in Madison Square Garden is something special. And I also want to thank Dino and Rock Nation. Going into this event, I heard terrible stories from other promoters about how they couldn't get along with Rock Nation, how the people were very difficult to deal with. I must say, Dino, this has been a delightful promotion. there hasn't been one problem except with Rigondeaux.
He might be the only problem to your left, right?
I love Guillermo. He's a great.
That means you know.
There hasn't been any problem. It's been really a very, very pleasant promotion.
Before we get started with the fighters up here on the dais, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention a fighter that we have here in the front row, fellow top-ranked fighter and lineal unified 140-pound champion of the world, Terrence Crawford, is in the house, everybody. And speaking of Terrence, Bob, you can probably speak to this. You'll be heading out to Australia after this fight to promote Jeff Horn versus Gary Corcoran for the WBO welterweight championship of the world, and a chance that Terrence Crawford could possibly be fighting the winner of that fight for his 147-pound debut, correct?
No.
Okay, correct me.
He's not going because you won't go with him.
Well, you know, it is what it is, married life. What about the fight, Bob?
What about what?
I mean, I know the smile, I know that, yeah, exactly. He's still thinking about that Viagra package. I'm talking about the fight that you're leaving to Australia and maybe Crawford fighting the winner of that fight.
Well, yeah. Remember, ESPN is changing the face of boxing. Before ESPN got involved in boxing, it was a relatively parochial matter. There were two premium networks sort of dueling with each other, but two networks that were basically entertainment networks. They kept boxing alive because nobody else would be involved. Now ESPN is alive and well in boxing. This fight will be shown on ESPN for free all over the country, bars and restaurants and in homes. And just to show the commitment to boxing that ESPN has, the fight between Horn and Corcoran for the welterweight championship, the winner which is obligated to fight Terrence Crawford later in the year. That fight will be held on a Wednesday night in Brisbane, Australia. That's equivalent to early Wednesday morning in the United States, difference in time. That fight will be televised live on ESPN, and people, you want to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, you can watch it live. You want to sleep a little longer, use your DVR, and then get up and watch it. But the point is, it will be shown on a live basis in the United States, just the way ESPN showed Murata's middleweight championship match live on a Sunday morning in the United States, where in Japan, 30 million of the 90 million Japanese watched that fight live on a Sunday night. So what ESPN is doing is great. They are really joined with boxing. They're behind boxing. It's an absolutely new era, and any so-called executive who wants to fight it and wants to counter-program it, be my guest.
As Bob mentioned, that Horn-Corcoran fight will be televised live at 6:30 a.m. Eastern.